Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
I want you to just picture a scenario with me for a second.
Mm.
It's one of those universal experiences we've all had, probably a dozen times. You're sitting on a train.
Right. The commute, the long journey.
Exactly. It's a long journey. Maybe the heating is on a little too high, and the rhythm of the tracks is kind of lulling you into a trance. You're tired, maybe a bit bored, just, staring out the window.
It's that suspended reality of travel. You're in a public space, but you're completely in your own private bubble.
Yes, that's it. You're invisible, or at least you
Yeah.
feel like you are. And a few seats away, you spot two teenage girls. They're young, they're glowing with that specific kind of excitement you only have when you're, 16 or 17, and heading to the big city without your parents.
They look naive, happy, ready for an adventure. The nice girls, as we might label them, the archetype of innocence.
Right, but then the atmosphere shifts. The bubble pops. Two men board the train, and they sit nearby. They're older, maybe late 20s. They look a bit rougher around the edges.
Mhm.
And here's the detail that catches your eye. They aren't carrying suitcases or backpacks. They are carrying their belongings in black plastic bin bags.
Which is immediately a jarring visual. I mean, in the context of train travel, a bin bag is a massive signal. It suggests transience, chaos, a lack of preparation. It breaks the social contract of respectable travel.
So you start listening. You can't help it. And you overhear that these men have just been released from prison. You see the girls start talking to them. You see the coffees turning into lagers. You see the boundaries dissolving.
Oh, wow.
And you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, the one that says, something is wrong here.
It's the biological alarm system kicking in. Primal.
So here is the question, and it's the hook that drags us right into today's deep dive. What do you do? Do you intervene? Do you play the hero and risk looking like a busybody, a Karen? Or do you tell yourself it's none of your business, turn up your headphones, look out the window, and just hope for the best?
It is the ultimate moral dilemma, the bystander effect playing out in real time. And tragically, it is the decision, or really the lack of a decision, that launches the entire story we are unpacking today.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into I Am Watching You by Teresa Driscoll. And let me tell you, this is not just a thriller.
No, not at all.
I mean, yes, it has the suspense, it has the missing girl, it has all the police procedural elements. But at its core, this is a psychological wrecking ball. It is an examination of guilt, of the ripple effects of our choices, and how one split-second decision can just shatter multiple families forever.
I think what makes this book so compelling and at times so uncomfortable to analyze is that it moves beyond the simple whodunit and really settles into the why done it and the what now.
Exactly.
We aren't just looking at a crime, we're looking at the emotional debris left behind.
We have a lot of ground to cover. We're going to unpack the first 6 chapters in that critical one-year-on mark. We're going to analyze the perspective of the witness, a woman named Ella, who's on that train.
And the victim's family, the Ballards, who are just disintegrating under the weight of grief.
And we're going to look at the survivor, Sarah, and try to piece together the clues regarding the disappearance of Anna Ballard.
It's a mission to understand the anatomy of a tragedy, really.
So let's jump right into part 1, the inciting incident. The train ride, July 2015.
We have to start with Ella Longfield.
Ugh.
She is our eyes and ears. She's the witness.
Ella is such a relatable character to start with because she is so profoundly normal. She's a florist, 40-something. She's on this train to London for a floristry conference, and frankly, she is bored out of her mind.
The source material gives us this really interesting internal monologue from Ella right at the start. She talks about feeling invisible. She says she's waiting for that magical moment in her 40s where you're supposed to stop caring what people think of you, that confidence that comes with age. But she admits she is still waiting for it to kick in.
Oh, I loved that detail. It makes her so human. There's this scene at the station, before she even gets on the train, she's buying reading material, and she wants to buy a celebrity gossip magazine, Hello, or something like that.
Right, just some junk food for the brain.
Exactly. She just wants to switch off. But she feels judged by the young guy at the cash register. She thinks he's looking at her like she's just another bored, middle-aged housewife.
So she performs, she puts the gossip mag back and buys an obscure environmental magazine instead.
Yes, a magazine with wind turbines on the cover. She buys it just so this stranger at the till thinks she's smart. And then she gets on the train and realizes, oh my God, I have to read about wind turbines for 3 hours.
It's funny, but it's so crucial to her character. It establishes that Ella is hyper-aware of social judgment. She modifies her behavior based on what she thinks strangers are thinking. And that trait, that fear of social awkwardness, is exactly what paralyzes her later when it really, really matters.
So she's sitting there bored to tears by wind energy, and she starts people watching. And she sees these two very distinct groups. On one hand, you have the nice girls from Cornwall, Anna and Sarah.
They're the picture of innocence. They've just finished their GCSEs. They have a whole itinerary planned out.
A very specific one.
They're going to shop at Liberty. They're going to try on Stella McCartney designs. And they have tickets to see Les Miserables. It's a very wholesome, structured trip.
And on the other hand, you have the rough lads, Carl and Anthony.
And again, the visual contrast is so stark. The boys are carrying those black bin bags. Ella notices it immediately.
Yeah, she judges them for it.
She does. She thinks typical. Couldn't even find a hold all. She's judging them, but it's a mild, almost maternal judgment at first. She just sees them as loud, boisterous, maybe a bit messy.
But then the interaction starts. The boys move seats. They start chatting up the girls. And Ella's watching this little dance unfold. She notices that one of the guys, Carl, is actually quite good looking.
Right. She describes him as looking like a member of a boy band.
And she admits she remembers that feeling, that little tummy flip when a handsome guy pays attention to you. So initially, she isn't horrified. She's just observing the flirtation.
It's all just background noise at that point.
Exactly. But then Carl puts his cards right on the table. He tells the girls straight up that they've just come from Exeter prison.
And this is the moment the air changes. Carl was in for assault. Anthony was in for theft.
But listen to how Carl frames it. This is so key. He doesn't say, I beat someone up. He says he was sticking up for a friend who was being bullied. He paints himself as a hero, a loyal protector who got a raw deal from the system.
Oh, that's classic manipulation. He's rewriting his own narrative in real time.
And the girls, they eat it up.
They are fascinated. Ella calls it their sweet and liberal naivety. To these girls from a quiet part of Cornwall, prison isn't a place of violence or danger. It's a story.
Right. It's edgy. It's real life.
They are attracted to the danger because they don't understand the reality of it. It's an abstraction to them.
And Carl is he's engaging in what looks a lot like grooming. He's charming them. He's giving them advice on London. He tells them to watch themselves in the city, positioning himself as their protector.
Which is so ironic.
Incredibly. And then he recommends a club.
Mention my name, he says. He tells them he knows the bouncer. He's offering them status. He's offering them a VIP experience.
And Ella's sitting there listening to all this, and her internal alarm is just ringing off the hook. She's thinking about Anna's mother, probably at home, warming her back by the Aga, thinking her daughter is safe at a matinee.
And she realizes the sensible plan is completely disintegrating right in front of her.
This is the first pivot point. Ella decides she has to intervene. She's going to be the village elder. She formulates a plan.
And it's a good plan. It's clever.
It is. She's going to go to the buffet car, pretend her phone is playing up, and ask the girls for help. It's a way to separate them from the boys without causing a huge scene.
She can just whisper a warning, be careful, or I'm calling your parents. It's a sensible, non-confrontational approach.
So she stands up. She walks toward the buffet car. But to get there, she has to pass the train toilet.
And this is where it all goes horribly wrong. This is the breaking point.
She hears noises coming from the toilet.
Not just noises. She hears Sarah and Anthony. And the text is very, very explicit here. Ella describes them as rutting like animals.
Ugh, that phrase, rutting like animals. It is so visceral. It's not making love. It's not even hooking up. It's animalistic.
And it triggers a massive psychological shift in Ella. A moment ago, she viewed these girls as innocent children who needed protecting from predators.
Lambs to the slaughter.
Exactly. But when she hears the sexual act, her perception just flips 180 degrees. Suddenly, she feels disgust.
She feels humiliated. She says she feels hot with humiliation. She feels prudish and out of touch. She thinks, I am this buttoned-up middle-aged woman, and these girls are engaging in this raw adult act.
And that shame turns into judgment. It turns into anger.
Yeah. She thinks, why should I help you if you're behaving like this? She convinces herself that they aren't nice girls anymore. They are streetwise. They are making adult choices so they can deal with adult consequences.
It's a way of rationalizing her own inaction. It's a defense mechanism.
This is the fatal decision. She decides not to make the call. But, and this is what haunts her, this is the key, she admits later that her decision wasn't based on logic, it was punishment.
Exactly. She admits she wanted to call the parents not to save the girls, but to tell on them, to punish them for the sex.
Because it made her feel old and prudish.
Right. And because she recognized that her own motive was spiteful, she decided she shouldn't do it. She moralized herself into silence.
That is so dark, but so horribly human. She withdraws her help because she judges the victim. So she goes back to her seat, she minds her own business, she gets off the train, goes to her hotel, has a brandy, and goes to sleep.
And the next morning, she turns on the TV in her hotel room.
And there it is, the news. Anna Ballard is missing.
And in that split second, the wind turbines, the boredom, the embarrassment, it all just vanishes. And Ella realizes she is standing in the center of a tragedy that she could have prevented.
Her life has changed forever. She just doesn't know how much yet.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. Part 2 takes us to 1 year later. We are looking at the fallout. And for Ella, life has become a complete nightmare.
We have to discuss the concept of trial by media, because Ella didn't remain anonymous for long.
No. Her name was leaked. She suspects by the police, or maybe Anna's father, Henry, and the press just descended on her.
I can't even imagine that. You're a florist, you live a quiet life, suddenly reporters are banging on your shop window, shouting questions at you.
You're being doxxed online. People are commenting on articles saying, why didn't she help? What kind of woman does nothing?
Ella describes herself as the failed witness. She is carrying this immense, crushing guilt. But interestingly, she feels she hasn't suffered enough. She compares her own suffering to the parents and thinks, my pain doesn't count because I'm the one who messed up. It's a form of self-flagellation.
But someone out there thinks she needs to suffer more. She starts receiving these postcards.
The black postcards. These are terrifying. They're so personal.
Describe them for us, because the detail is really chilling.
They are black card. And the sender has cut letters out of magazines and newspapers and glued them on. You know, like a classic ransom note. But Ella mentions that the glue sometimes feels sticky to the touch. That tactile detail just makes my skin crawl. It implies a human hand, a messy, angry process.
The first one says, why didn't you help her?
Which is, of course, the exact question she asks herself every single day.
The second one, bitch, how do you sleep?
And the third one, which arrives in this section of the book, karma, you will pay.
Now, here is where it gets really interesting from a psychological standpoint. If I got a death threat in the mail, I'd be at the police station in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
But Ella, she shreds the first one. She hides them from her husband.
This is a total trauma response. She is so terrified of the media attention returning that she chooses to endure the stalking rather than risk the publicity. She thinks if she goes to the police, it'll be a circus all over again.
Woman who did nothing now claims she's a victim. She can already see the headlines.
Exactly. The shame is more powerful than the fear.
So instead, she hires a private investigator, a guy named Matthew Hill. He's ex-police.
Which is a smart move, in a way, keeping it private.
It is. And there's this scene in chapter 6 where she sits down with him, hands him the karma postcard in a little plastic wallet she stole from her son's school folder.
Oh, that detail. So pathetic and real.
And tells him she knows who the stalker is.
She is absolutely convinced. She tells him it's Barbara Ballard, the victim's mother.
The grieving mother is stalking me. That is a wild, wild accusation.
But it makes a twisted kind of sense in Ella's warped reality. She's projecting her own guilt onto Barbara. She thinks, I hate myself for what I did. Therefore, Barbara must hate me even more. She is the only one with the moral right to punish me.
She actually tells the PI she probably deserves the threats.
Yeah.
She doesn't want Barbara arrested. She just wants Matthew to warn her off. It's this heartbreaking mix of fear and penitence. She wants it to stop, but she feels she deserves it.
It creates a fascinating dynamic for the PI. He has a client who is unreliable, paranoid, and is asking him to go and confront a grieving mother based on zero evidence other than her own guilt-ridden intuition.
A total minefield.
Yeah.
Speaking of the grieving mother, let's pivot to part 3, the victim's family. Because if Ella is struggling, the Ballards are absolutely drowning.
The victim's family section gives us a portrait of a marriage that is just disintegrating in slow motion. We have Henry and Barbara Ballard, and they are dealing with the ambiguity of missing in two completely different and conflicting ways.
Let's start with Henry, the dad.
Henry is checking out. He is dissociating. He spends all his time in the garden or in the conservatory. He has this line about the conservatory never really working. It's always too hot or too cold.
That feels like such a perfect metaphor for his life right now. Nowhere is comfortable. He can't find a temperature that works.
Exactly. And he's obsessed with the spot in the bushes where the girls used to play den when they were little. He's retreating into the past, to a time when he was the protector and they were safe.
And we find out that their farm, Ladbroke Farm, isn't really a working farm anymore.
No. And this is a source of deep shame for Henry. The farm has transitioned to tourism, they have holiday lets, and a tea shop.
So he's basically in the hospitality business.
Right. Henry feels like he is playing at farming with a few sheep, but the real business is making scones for tourists.
He feels emasculated. His ancestors worked this land, and he's just a landlord. And now, on top of that, he's failed to protect his daughter. He feels useless on every conceivable level.
And then you have Barbara. If Henry is freezing, Barbara is on fire. She is manic.
The baking. Oh my God, the baking.
The baking is a huge red flag. Henry walks into the kitchen and she has tins and tins of plum slices lined up on the floor. She's just baking incessantly.
Plum slices were Anna's favorite, right?
Yes. It's a sensory bridge to her daughter. It's a way to feel close to her, but it's also a displacement activity. If she's baking, she's busy. If she's busy, she doesn't have to scream.
But the most heartbreaking thing about Barbara is her hobby. She collects stories.
The scrapbook of lost girls.
This devastated me. She scours the news for stories of girls who were abducted, held captive for years, brainwashed, but who eventually came home alive.
It's her lifeline. It's her fuel. The police are operating on the assumption that Anna is dead. Henry, in his heart, clearly believes Annie is dead.
But Barbara refuses to accept that.
She can't. She clings to the narrative of the abducted survivor. As long as one girl somewhere in the world came home after 10 years, she can believe Anna will too.
But this creates a massive conflict over the anniversary. The police are setting up a crime catcher's appeal, a TV reconstruction. Barbara wants to do it. She wants the exposure. But Henry is dragging his feet.
And his official reason is that he wants to protect their younger daughter, Jenny. Jenny is, in a bad way, described as only half there. Henry doesn't want the cameras and the media intruding on her grief.
Which sounds noble.
It does.
But that's not the only reason Henry is scared of the spotlight, is it?
No. Henry has a secret, and this is the bombshell of this entire section.
Let's talk about the memory, the flashback.
Henry keeps replaying the last moment he saw Anna. They were in the car. He was dropping her off to meet Sarah. And her last words to him were not, "I love you," or "goodbye," or "see you soon."
What were they?
She said, "You disgust me, Dad."
Wow. You disgust me.
You disgust me.
That is heavy. That is loaded with so much history and anger.
It completely reframes Henry's character. In a flash, he isn't just the grieving, passive father. He is a man who was despised by his daughter moments before she vanished.
It begs the question, what did he do? Disgust implies a deep moral failing. It's not just I'm angry with you. It's you are repellent to me.
Did she catch him doing something? An affair? Something financial? Or something worse?
And suddenly, his reluctance to do the TV appeal looks completely different. Is he protecting Jenny? Or is he protecting himself? Is he afraid that if the police and the media dig too deep, they'll find out why his daughter was disgusted by him?
It casts this huge shadow of suspicion over him. And secrets seem to be the currency of this family. Which brings us right to part 4. The survivor.
Sarah, Anna's best friend. The girl who was on the train, in the toilet with Anthony, and who came home alone.
Sarah is staying in a hotel with her parents for the anniversary appeal, and she is clearly suffering from severe, crippling PTSD.
The physical details are so striking. She refuses to sleep under the covers. She lies on top of the bed, fully closed.
That just screams flight response to me. She needs to be ready to run at a second's notice. She can't let her guard down, even to sleep.
And she has this olfactory hallucination, this recurring smell. She keeps smelling the back of a cupboard.
The smell of hide and seek.
Exactly. Stale air, dust, enclosure. It suggests she feels trapped, or perhaps that she's hiding something so deep it's manifesting as a physical sensation.
Well, we know she hid something massive. We find out that the police investigation was completely botched in the early days, and it was Sarah's fault.
This is a critical piece of the puzzle. When the police first interviewed Sarah, right after Anna went missing, she lied.
She didn't just lie, she denied everything.
She denied meeting the men on the train.
She told the police that Ella, our witness, was a fantasist. She said Ella was a crazy woman making it all up.
Why? Why would you do that when your best friend is missing?
Shame, fear. Self-preservation. I mean, you have to put yourself in her shoes. She was a teenager. She was the one in the toilet with Antony.
Right.
She was hooking up with an ex-con while she was supposed to be watching Les Miserables. She knew her parents would be furious. She knew she'd be in a world of trouble.
So she thought, if I just deny the men existed, this all goes away and I won't get in trouble.
Precisely. She thought she could contain the secret, but the result was catastrophic for the investigation.
Yeah.
By the time the police pulled the CCTV footage and realized she was lying, the men, Carl and Antony, had done a bunk. They'd fled the country.
So Sarah isn't just grieving her friend. She is carrying the knowledge that her lie might be the very reason the trail went cold. That is a crushing weight for a teenager.
And in the present day, she is reaching a breaking point. There is this scene where Jenny Anna's little sister wants to watch the TV appeal with Sarah. Henry goes to Sarah's hotel room to get her.
And he hears her screaming.
Screaming into her phone, "God, no, please!"
And then the sound of smashing glass. A mirror, a glass, something breaking.
Someone was on the phone with her. Who was it? Was it the stalker who's targeting Ella? Was it one of the boys, Carl or Antony? Or, this is a wild thought, was it Anna?
It's a massive cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It tells us that the threat isn't in the past, it's active, it's right there in the room with her a year later.
So let's take a breath and look at the investigation itself. This brings us to part 5, the deep dive analysis. We have Ella's PI, Matthew Hill. He's trying to make sense of this whole mess. What are the hard facts that he's working with?
Okay, let's look at the clues. Let's lay them out.
The boys are real, Carl and Antony. They're confirmed ex-cons, assault, and theft.
So Ella wasn't a fantasist.
Uh-huh.
Sarah lied. That's a huge baseline fact.
Fact 2, they did go to a club. Carl wrote the name down for them. The girls never went to the theater.
And that discrepancy, the Les Mis tickets versus the club, is the pivot point of the police inquiry. It proves the girls went off script. It proves they willingly put themselves in a vulnerable situation.
And fact 3, Ella is an unreliable client.
Matthew Hill is in such a tough spot. He has a client who admits she feels she deserves to be punished. She is completely fixated on Barbara Ballard as the stalker.
But there's no evidence.
0. And Matthew, being an ex-cop, is probably looking at the wider picture. He sees a witness paralyzed by guilt, a survivor who lied to the police, and a father who is acting very, very strangely about a TV appeal.
It's a tangled web, and it really brings us to the core themes of the book. Because I Am Watching You isn't just a thriller. It's a commentary on how we live, how we judge people.
Absolutely. And I think the most prominent theme that jumps out is the myth of the nice girl.
Let's unpack that. Ella sees Anna and Sarah and immediately labels them nice girls from Cornwall, and in her head, that label acts as a kind of shield. She thinks nice girls don't talk to men with bin bags.
But the book just deconstructs that completely. Nice girls get bored. Nice girls crave excitement. In fact, their very niceness, their sheltered upbringing, makes them more vulnerable, not less.
How so?
They didn't see Carl and Antony as threats. They saw them as exotic, as a story to tell their friends back home.
And the boys weaponize that naivety.
Especially Antony. The way he manipulated Sarah is a masterclass in it. He played the sad dad card. He told her he was only stealing to support his son, that he was fighting his horrible ex for access.
And Sarah melted. She saw him as a tragic, romantic figure.
It's a classic predator tactic. Appeal to the victim's empathy. Make them feel sorry for you. It completely lowers their defenses. Ella judged them for being streetwise in the toilet. But the reality was they were incredibly naive. They were children playing at being adults, and they got caught.
Another huge theme is parenting. Specifically, that tension between holding on and letting go.
This is the central fracture in the Ballard marriage, isn't it? Henry was the one who pushed for the trip. He thought Anna needed to step away from the apron strings. He thought Barbara was coddling them.
And Barbara had that intuition. She wanted to keep them safe at home. She didn't want them to go.
So now, Henry is living with the unbearable guilt of being the catalyst. He pushed them out of the nest, and Anna fell. Every time he looks at Barbara, he knows she is thinking, I told you so.
That dynamic, the unspoken blame, is so toxic. It destroys relationships faster than grief does.
And finally, the theme that ties everything together. Secrets.
Everyone is hiding something.
Everyone. Ella kept the secret of her judgment, and the real reason she didn't call.
Sarah kept the secret of the boy's existence, which derailed the investigation.
Henry is keeping the secret of that disgust argument.
Even Jenny, the little sister, is hiding the true extent of her trauma. The book says she's only half there.
It's a cascade of silence. If just one person had spoken up at the right time, If Ella had made the call, Sarah had told the truth on day one, if Henry had been honest about the fight, maybe the outcome would be different.
That is the real tragedy of this book, isn't it? It's not one singular act of evil that causes the disaster. It's a series of small, relatable human failures, a series of silences that stack up until they create this wall that Anna can't come back through. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, where are we? Let's recap. 1 year later.
Anna is missing, presumed dead by everyone except her mother.
Ella is being hunted by a stalker who knows her deepest shame.
Sarah is screaming in a hotel room as glass shatters, suggesting the threat is very much alive.
And Henry Ballard is haunted by his daughter's final, damning words of disgust.
It leaves us with a final provocative thought. We started with that train dilemma. Let's go back to it. If Ella had intervened, if she had overcome her social awkwardness and humiliation and called the parents, would it have saved Anna?
Or, and this is the darker possibility, considering Sarah was already lying, she was already sneaking off, and the boys were already manipulating them. Was the train already on a track to tragedy that couldn't be stopped? Was it inevitable?
And the question I really want you to mull over, who is sending those postcards? Is it really the grieving, baking mother lashing out in her unimaginable pain?
Or is there someone else watching Ella, someone who was on that train, someone who knows exactly what happened and what Ella didn't do?
And seriously, what did Henry Ballard do to make his daughter despise him right before she vanished? That is the question that is going to keep me up at night.
To find out, you'll have to read the rest of the book. But looking at the evidence we have so far, it doesn't look good for anyone.
No, it certainly doesn't. This has been a heavy one, but an important one.
It really makes you think twice about who you sit next to on your commute.
And maybe makes you think twice about minding your own business.
Exactly. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with another story. Until then, keep your eyes open.